David Hasselhoff going on over there and shit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Justin Gibbons Show, and we are here after all three of us have had a pretty frustrating day, but we're not quitters. We don't give up. When we set our mind to doing things, we're going to do them regardless of what the world throws at us. We're the type of motherfuckers that are like, just throw whatever you want to throw at me. You can't beat me. You can't kill me. I done been through it all. I done done it all. I done had it all thrown at me. You're not breaking me. I'm unbreakable. What you fellas got to say about that?
Winners always finish, baby.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Winners never quit, man. Don't quit at all. When things go wrong, they sometimes will. And the road to Detroit seems all uphill. Yeah. When the funds are low and the depths are high, you want to smile, but you have to sigh. Rest if you must, but don't you quit.
Oh, shit! That's kind of smooth right there.
She rehearsed it. He rehearsed it.
I did.
Oh, that was the smooth one around here. That's baby soft right there.
That's baby soft.
But we're going to speak on leadership today. All right, we all got different ways that we've led in life, and this is not only just for people who are already leaders, but people who are aspiring to be leaders. You know, and whether that is leading your family, your household, your business, or just being your own leader. Just being your own leader. Stop, just stop following in others' paths. Start creating your own. Be a trailblazer, So, who wants to kick this off? Which one of you guys?
Yeah, I'll start it off. So, it was 2014 when I really got my first taste of leadership. I had just opened up my first Cutco office. And in 2013, I also ran a Cutco office, but it was more of like a intern kind of like summer thing, right? And I remember opening it up, and I had all these people that were working with me, and we made this bet. And I was talking to you about this a little bit earlier.
Right.
And so the whole year, well, not the whole year, from pretty much the way Cutco works is you open up in May and you end until like December, right? We made this bet with my team where I could not use the word I for the whole year. I had to use the word we. And every single time that I used the word I, my team, no matter where I was at, whether I was at a conference, whether I was at the office, it really didn't matter. It made me drop down and get 25 push-ups. And it was such an inspiring thing for me because I realized that leadership...
I bet you were swole, though.
I was getting it in.
Out right there. It was puffy.
I was getting it in. But, it really taught me about leadership. It taught me how to, and also there was a poll taken. And this is a big thing about leadership and what I believe in. John Maxwell, if you haven't read the book, it's called 21 Laws of Leadership. It's one of the greatest leadership books of all time. And there was a poll taken, and this poll said it had all the characteristics of what people from Fortune 500 companies thought a leader should be. Okay. And the number one thing that was written down that people voted on, what do you think it was?
I'm not sure. I'd say rapport, I guess.
Okay. What do you think?
Understanding. Understanding. I think that they need to be able to understand the team, the conditions the team are under. A real leader needs to be out there with you in the field. You can't just come from somewhere else and hop into the game and start trying to lead when you haven't been on the field. You don't know what's going on around here. Don't just try to come in and lead things without being on the front lines with us. You don't know what we need. You don't know what we're going through. I hate bosses because I'm not going to call them leaders. I hate bosses that are like that. They get shipped in from somewhere. They get this position because they know somebody, or maybe they even earned their stripes wherever they were, and they were good in that environment. They come in and start trying to tell people what to do. Like, hey, you don't even know what's going on yet.
Right.
You need to be out here with us on at least a couple of weeks so you can get an idea of what we're dealing with, and then you can help us through that situation.
I think you nailed it. So the number one thing, by the way, that everybody wrote was lead from the front.
Lead from the front.
Lead from the front. It was the number one rule of leadership. I also think, when I think about leaders, I think about leading people through rough waters. You think about people like MLK, JFK, Abraham Lincoln, like people that were real pioneers in their field where there was so much doubt. You think about Henry Ford. I don't know if you know the story, but when Henry Ford was creating like the engine for the Ford, they thought he was psychotic. And they said, there is no way that you're going to be able to create this thing. They made him go to court for insanity. Imagine going to court for insanity, right? And that's actually credited to the book Think and Grow Rich. But eventually, obviously, he created a revolution, not only in Detroit, but, in the world.
Worldwide.
And just imagine all the doubters. So I think as a leader, you have to be able to lead people through rough waters. You think about the captain of a ship. There's so many obstacles. There's so many things that's going on. But there's that storm, like that calm steadiness that you see in a leader where no matter what the obstacle is, and it's really cool that you mentioned that a little bit earlier, they're going to find a way to win. They're going to find a way to lead their people in the best position to succeed.
Cool under pressure.
Correct.
Cool under pressure.
And the last thing I'm going to say about a leader is they know their strengths and weaknesses. And I'll kind of throw that to y'all. You know, for me, when I was hired as a CEO for 1-800-Repairs, the first thing that I did was hire people that were better than me at certain tasks that I was not good at. Right? So there's a guy named CJ Marshall. I love you, brother. There's a guy named Jared. I love you too. And they're what we call very logical, statistical, program people.
Right.
Where for me, I'm more of a visionary. For me, I react a lot more on faith. Right? But I'm not the type of person to duplicate a lot of things. I'm not the type of person to have systems and programs to franchise different businesses. Right?
Gotcha.
So you need people on your side. What I love most about Abraham Lincoln, if you don't know the story, is with Abraham Lincoln, his cabinet was the people that were running against him. His cabinet was the people that were his enemies. We talked about the art of war.
Right.
But he knew that those people had certain strengths. And, you know, I think you need to become an egoless leader. And I think that's the most important thing about leadership.
Exactly. I want to jump on you with that. See, when you, as a leader, you need to let go of your ego because you need to know your own weaknesses.
Right.
You know, this comes from the art of war. Yes. Know thy enemy and win 100 battles. Know thyself and win 1,000. So you have to know where your limitations lie at in the field. All right, and this is a few mistakes I'm just going to name off that I see leaders make all the time, and easy ways to correct that. One is micromanaging too much. So some leaders, they got to be on the scene with you every step of the way. Don't do it your way, no, don't do it my way. But I want you to do it, but I'm gonna stand here and like point every little, every little fucking point out. Drives you crazy, especially as a worker. Like, just tell me what you want done. Go take a little break. Come back and check on me. You know, if you need me, but I don't need you over me, pointing every little. You know, oh look at that. You know, look at that. You forgot that. Like, I'm gonna get it. Just chill out.
And just to hop on that point right quick. When you micromanaging your workers, your employees, or whoever might be your partners, when you're micromanaging them, you make them do it your way. You never give them the actual chance to really transform into the actual person that they can actually be. Because yes, your way may work very well.
Sure.
But the way they do it may work just as well, if not better. Or maybe it might even be a little bit less better, but their way still works.
It steals their creative freedom.
Right.
It also creates a scarcity mindset.
Yes.
Because that scarcity mindset is like, man, if that person does that better than me, right, maybe that person's going to take my job.
And that's another problem with a lot of leaders. They're not they're afraid of losing their position, and leaders like that, you need to be aware of them. And they're easy to spot because they are usually the ones that create the most trouble within the workforce.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, leaders, they overall passion has to be more than just to have the power. They leading for an actual reason. Whatever the reason is you're leading those people, you might be the best at that time. And if somebody's better than you, the reason is more important than you actually having that power in your hands and being a leader. So that's why you want to have those people in your corner. Like, hey, if I fall, if I'm not strong enough to lead, if I'm lacking, and you're better than me, you say you got to be egoless. Let my ego go. We know we're doing this for the right reasons. So if you're a better leader than me, then go take it. Because I know with you, the overall goal is still going to be achieved.
Yeah.
So now that we covered over micromanaging, let's cover not managing enough. So you're the boss that sits in the air-conditioned, cool building or vehicle or whatever, and then you come out and you just tell people what to do and you disappear, and at the end of the day, you never have anything good to say. They always done something wrong. No compliment. You guys did a great job. Never get that from those guys.
You know, I get made fun of, by the way, all the time. I was telling him this a little bit earlier as well. I've never shut my door at work before. I've never shut my door, whether I'm with Cutco, whether I'm with 1-800-Repairs. No matter what I do, I've never shut my door because I need people to know that there's an open form of communication. Agreed. So in my office, there's 4 rooms, excuse me. And my receptionist, Blair, if you're watching, Blair, you're the best girl. She makes fun of me because I sit by her every single day. And like, I have an office. My office has no paintings, no art, no nothing. There's a desk and I'm never in it. And all I do is I hang out with my people.
You're on the field. That's where our leader should be. He should be with his people, you know. Kings, back in the old days when kings were good, they fought in the front of their men.
Yes.
Yeah.
They weren't behind them giving order. They was right there. Look, we about to go, like you said, not I, not you, we about to go and fuck some shit up.
Exactly, agreed.
All right, I got it. Let me take this one. So, if you don't want to over micromanage and you don't want to under manage, what are you going to do? Well, you have to find that happy medium. Now, that's going to be hard maybe for some people at first, but I can guarantee you there is a spot right where you belong.
And that comes back to planning your strengths.
Yeah, planning your strengths, and also looking at your strengths and your weakness of your actual employees.
Yeah, sure.
So you have some people who might actually need that micromanagement because they're just not there yet, and they might need you to be there. Okay, this is how you do it like this. And they might need that constant guidance over and over. Then you have some other people who might not need as much micromanage as others. So you gotta definitely understand who you're working with. You gotta understand who's
your soldiers.
You gotta understand your soldiers.
Exactly.
Correct. You got to.
You know, there's an old saying, right, that 20% of people give you 80% of the results, 80% of people give you 20% of the results. So I think as a leader, so for Cutco, which was a direct sales company, we're recruiters, right? So we made a living off of duplicating people. We made a, like, for example, birds of a feather tend to flock together, right? You would cut, like hypothetically, I met you, and then look who you brought through, and, we all duplicated each other. So, in April, the summer would kind of it was like the pregame of the summer, and then May was the first real month of the summer.
Right.
And in April, I took pride in I had a big ass whiteboard with all of my top recruits. And my assistant managers, and I had 7 of them, and they were the most talented assistant managers in the division and in the region. I never let them make a fucking call. They would literally look at me and be like, dude, what is wrong? And I'm like, I'm leaving today, right? And I wanted to make sure, and this is really important, but at the end of the summer, remember as a leader, you always take the blame, you always give the what? Credit.
Right.
So, although I personally got all those people in, I always made it to where it was theirs, right? And they had that ownership. And people want to be a part of that. That's a part of that I versus we concept.
Man, I believe in that so much. If you ever had a good boss or a good leader around you, whenever you guys messed up, he might have just said, look, we can't do this again. But when he went to his boss, he was like, you know what? Don't blame them guys. It was my mess up.
Sure.
I should have been there. I wasn't there. Or whatever reason went wrong, I did that. It's my mistake. So you leave them guys alone. I'll take care of my men. Don't worry. This is my mess up. Good leaders, that's what they do. Now, I'm
sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
That's one thing I like about pilots. If their ship is going down, it's my fault. This is my ship. This is my dynasty. This is my empire. This is my kingdom.
Yeah.
I'm going down with it.
Captain goes down with the ship.
It's my fault that we're here anyway, so I'm not going to evacuate and leave because I'm going to be looked at as a coward.
Wow.
Right.
Because if I stay here, my people want to sit there and keep fighting with me.
Right.
Even if they don't fight with me, who cares? This is me. I'm taking responsibility. This is my mess up. If I got to go with it, then I got to go with it.
And if you watch sports like football, take for instance, one play can change the tempo of the game.
Yeah.
One good play can change the tempo of the game. So one man standing up when the rest didn't. Have you ever seen the movie Patriot when Mel Gibson, he grabs the flag up off the ground, he starts running the other direction, no retreat, and everybody turns around and they win the battle of Yorktown? That's what real leaders do.
Yeah.
When everyone else is running away, he runs toward the danger. All right, he's there first and he's there last. The first one on the battlefield and the last one off. But we talked about spotting these bad leaders. Now I want to show bad leaders or non-experienced leaders
improvement.
Right. All right. How to improve yourself with your employees. First of all, you got to know your employees, like you two guys said already.
Yep.
All right. So if you have an employee or I like the word soldier. If you got a soldier out there on the battlefield, right, and he's cocky, right, he thinks he can come in and take charge and lead, but he hasn't had any experience in whatever field you're in. There's a couple of ways you can handle it. All right. The number one way most people, bad leaders, would probably do is just get rid of them. You're fired, or demoted, drop you off. But there are ways to calm people with big egos because that can come in handy down the line. And one of the ways you could do that is you can give him a task that you know he's going to fail. You just got to knock him down a couple of notches. Through his own self, he'll find humility through his own mistakes. So you don't need to stand there like you shouldn't have did that. You too egotistical. No, just let him. When you do things, your own body will hurt you. You will feel grief. Your brain will tell you, man, you shouldn't have did that. You did that very wrong. You didn't do that correctly.
Well,
You'll punish yourself.
Just to rebuttal right quick, I don't think maybe you should give him a test that he can fail.
Sure.
But give him a test that's going to challenge him. That is going to challenge him. Like you still want your employees to achieve and pass every single task you give them. You don't want them to fail.
That's how you develop winners.
Exactly. That's how you develop winners. You don't want to give them something that they're going to, that they're going to fail, because how's it going to benefit you?
Right.
There's
I get what you're saying, but the point is we're trying to take this guy's ego out of the picture to get him to lead correctly, because his ego's in the way. It's not that he can't win or that he's a loser or whatever. It's just that his ego's in the way of making him a really good leader. So I'm not focusing on the task. We're focusing on this person's
That's what I'm saying. That's why if you give somebody a major challenge,
but if he passes it, even the ego goes higher.
Even if you pass it, you have something. You got to think about. Everybody doesn't think the same way. Somebody might get that major task, and even though they may achieve it and pass, you can be like, "Whoa, okay."
Right, but we're speaking about an egotistical-minded person. The more he wins, the more his ego's going to grow.
You put everybody into one category. You can have many egotistical people, and they have a great challenge. Even though they may surpass it and do whatever they got to do with it, they still be like, maybe I'm not. This is a lot of work for me. I don't think I can keep doing this.
I'm not going to argue with you. All right, in this scenario, this person that I've been thinking of in my mind is an egotistical person that if he won, his ego would grow. Okay, let's put it like that. So what you want him to do is fail, and you want him to fail with his team. Okay, with him. So he knows every mistake he did wrong, how he led his team or underneath, so he can see. And humans, we have to make our own mistakes sometimes. You can't be told every time, don't burn yourself because that fire's hot. We've been all told that. We've been all burned ourselves.
I think our ego takes a lot of time to work on those. So necessarily the word failure, I failed hundreds of times before I realized that I had an ego problem. Mm-hmm. So to have my people sync with me because of my ego problem, I don't know if that's really justice. But what I will say, there's this book, bro, and it's called The 1 Minute Manager, and it's one of the best books I've ever read in my life. Mm-hmm. And it talks about 1 minute praisings, 1 minute reprimands, and 1 minute goal settings. Okay, it's like, for example, your goal should not ever take longer than a minute to read or to go over. 1 minute praisings, it literally teaches you as a leader because what happens is a lot of times with leaders is they only correct people or talk to their workers, right, or their team. I like to use the word team. I hate to use the word workers when they do something wrong, and I think that's a big problem. So it literally teaches you to put your hand on their shoulder and be like, "Hey, good job." Right? And what that does is that's positive reinforcement. It's like, I hate to say this, but it's like training a dog, right? When you take a dog outside and you give them a treat, right? After they use the bathroom outside, that person's gonna keep doing that.
Right.
And you wanna praise whatever they're doing right, because what's gonna happen is they're gonna keep doing that. With 1 minute reprimand, you also have to think about it like a dog. I think we overcomplicate this as leaders, right? Mm-hmm. So for example, let's say you did something wrong. Well, I know you did something wrong, and hypothetically, you know you did something wrong too. You already have that guilt. You already have that feeling like, man, this person's about to correct me. What a lot of leaders do is they grow into the boss side of them, and they reprimand them for a long period of time of everything that they did wrong in front of everybody. What that does is it deformalizes opinions in the workplace.
Right.
With the proper way to do this, right, if you're a leader in your industry, by the way, is to praise them. Start off with a praise. Right? Then you want to ask them a question. You want to empower them. Like, for example, what do you think we could have done better? You don't want to say the word wrong. Mm-hmm. Then that person, hypothetically, is going to tell you what they think they could do it. Then it's their idea. Then you're going to praise them for coming up with that idea.
Right.
And then you end with a praise.
Agreed.
And that person is going to work so much more efficiently, so much better at that point.
I agree with that. And with the positive reinforcement, that brings me on to my next thing as a leader, and when you're dealing with...
Well, before you move on, let me comment on what you were just saying.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, it's so important to have that person at least come out and say what's wrong first, all right? Because once they say what's wrong, then you can even ask a question like, so why did you do that? Where was your mind at? What made you think that this was the best thing to do? Not asking that's why I'm putting you down. I want to know where your mind was at. Why did you do this? And maybe they may have a justifiable reason why they thought this was the best route to go.
And you have to be curious the way they think.
And you have to be curious the way they think.
Maybe they didn't mean it.
Exactly. Because some people just might not, honestly, just might not know better.
Yeah.
They might not know better, that's why they did it that way. Or they just I feel in myself like this was better than going this route, whatever it might be. Cool, that's fine, because that's what you want, especially when you're building an entrepreneur. You have to find your own way, find your own creativity to make sure a task is done. And when you and once you understand, and once you see where they're coming from, then now you can better reprimand them, because you can't reprimand somebody if they didn't even know.
No, I think a part of entrepreneurship is ego. We're talking about egoless leaders, but I think there's levels at your age. Some people develop faster than others. Look, I'm 29 years old, and I am so happy to say that by the time I was 28, 27, I learned what it really took to be a leader. And I'm still learning every single day. I'm learning from people like Tony Robbins, John Maxwell, and all these different people. But when you're a young entrepreneur, when you're a young leader, people think about it like if you're a manager, because you have that title, it's that sense of entitlement where all of a sudden I'm in control. It's that dictatorship. But also it's that power. But that's natural. It's human society. That's what happens with young people. And I think
Stanford prison experience. If you haven't heard of it, check it out.
So I think that it's just a part of like maturation.
Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Now, I just wanted to jump on to your positive reinforcement. I like that a lot. So this is, you could use the positive reinforcement. Let's say you got somebody who's a good worker, but they're a little unsure of themselves. You know they have the ability to lead a team or to do a job really well, but they're unsure of themselves. So what you should do in that situation is give them a win. You need to give them a job that they can win at. And you're like, man, and then you come through with the positive, you did that really well. You know what? I bet you could do this new task that you really should have been doing a long time ago just as well.
And to even go deeper than that, Justin, you ready? Then you empower them in the future because, dude, when it's all said and done, leaders always have vision. I was known for this. I would go up to somebody, dude, you could do one task good, and I'd come up to you and I'd be like, hey, I don't know if you ever thought about this, but you can be a great assistant manager one day. And they're like, wait, what's that? I'm like, I don't know if you know this, but I know you can't see it, but 2 years from now, bro, let me tell you something. That's something a great Silver Cup branch manager would do. And I'll put that thought in their head, and they're like, maybe I'm going to keep doing that because I'm going to be a great branch manager. You foresee. Think about people as plants. You got to let them blossom. And when you let them blossom, you have to give them little tips, little foreshadowings throughout the road. Like, hey, because you did that, this is what's going to make you a great manager. Because you did that, maybe one day, you know, let me tell you something about your personality. I think you're going to be a great CEO one day.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. And if we... The thing about us is somebody in our lives has probably done that for each and every one of us, right? And that made all the difference for that day. You kind of felt, you know, you hung your head a little higher, your shoulders were a little more broad. You had that Denzel walk, you know?
I feel like in a sense it's pretty much manipulation at its finest. Like some people look at manipulation as being a bad thing. But manipulation can definitely bring forth that beautiful vision that you putting in front of them.
It can be used as empowerment.
It can be used as definitely an empowerment. It's exactly how you said it. Man, that job that you just did, that was amazing. And I do it with my students all the time. I'm like, man, look, everything that everybody said about you, look what you just did. You know what you can do with this?
Right.
If you just did this and if you applied the same work ethic to this and to that, you know where you can be at?
And this is only the beginning. And I do want to touch on another thing you said. You had a really good point with the 1 minute...
manager.
And then...
Praisings, goal settings, reprimands.
Reprimands, all right. The 1 minute reprimands. Man, like a lot of bosses or leaders, you know, really don't want to call them leaders because they're not qualified yet. They will beat it into you that you messed up, you know, and never let you live it down. But they're never there when you do a good job. You know, I had this problem when I worked for the parish. I was worked for heavy equipment, and I would, you know, kill it all month. But one day out of the month, I make a mistake. I mess something up, and never forget it. You know, and I'll be asking for a raise 6 months later, and like, oh, remember that time? You remember that still? What about all this other shit I did? You know,
it just shows their perspective. You know, it's really, really interesting that people think that way.
Right. Do not do that. You have to give people a chance to make mistakes in this world. We're not all perfect, and it's really your fault if you made a mistake. You chose the wrong tool for the job. Not to compare people to tools, but that's what we are in this workforce. Like, if I was going to put myself in a position as a tool, I would be a salesman most probably. I wouldn't put me sewing, for instance, because I have no idea what. I'm not a sewing machine. I don't even know how to thread a needle probably. You know, it'd probably take me a lot longer than some people. Or anything. I can't blow glass. You know, but there are certain things. You want me to fix your car though? Probably can fix your car pretty good because I like to work on cars in my spare time. You know, so you got a starter that went out. I can do that. There are certain tasks that I can do better? And that's what we go back to choosing. Yeah. And also, you have to take fault for your mistakes as a leader. It can't always be your workers because you're in charge of them.
But I don't think it should ever be your workers. You know, I'm always going to be the one to take the blame. You know, my name's on 1-800-REPAIRS. There's nobody else's. Now, there's people that helped me found it, right? But like when it's all said and done, anything happens, it's my name. I'm always going to be the leader. I'm always going to be the person, you know, to take the blame.
And not only that, don't let someone else take the blame for you. Yeah. You know, I can't step in if 1-800-REPAIRS, something goes wrong and say, you know, David, ain't your fault. It was mine. And as a leader, you would like, how could it be your fault? It's mine. I'm the leader. At the end of the day, it all comes down to me. The paperwork sat on my desk. I reviewed it.
I agree. And like I said this before, and I think in our first podcast about this me being a teacher in my class, if I have kids that's failed, I can easily, if I want to take the route, like, well, I gave them the work, I gave them all the information, I did what I can do, it's their fault.
Yeah.
I mean, that point can definitely be pushed and it can definitely be justified. Right. But at the same time, this me being who I am.
I can only imagine how our viewers are hearing this right now. They got to understand where we're coming from. Like, that's bullshit. How could it be the kid's fault? But there are leaders that are going to listen to this one day and be at work doing the same thing. Like, oh my God, I'm doing what Brandon was saying not to do.
Right.
Not only, these are not kids, I'm not a teacher, but I'm a leader, and these are my soldiers. And I'm fucking telling them they're doing wrong, but it's really me. It's my job to lead.
You know, culture eats strategy for lunch. I think another thing that leaders do is they create a culture, right? So for me, you know, whether it's in sales or whether it's like 1-800-REPAIRS, it doesn't matter, right? So we're a startup. We're a startup. Hypothetically, like when it's all said and done, we have the brand of a lifetime. We own the domain repairs.com. We own 1-800-REPAIRS. And it's going to be $1 billion company. Remember that first time we said that. Now, with that being said, okay, when I was with Cutco, or it doesn't matter where you're at, I was telling you this earlier too, is people would work with me for a long period of time. I had this one man, I wouldn't say his name, but he didn't get paid for 3 or 4 months. And I remember looking at him and I was like, bro, like I see your paychecks, man, like it's okay. Like there's times to quit.
Right.
You know, Gary Vee always talks about that. There's times where enough is enough. It's time to quit, right? There's nothing wrong with like, you know, calling out, right? And I had that conversation with him. He goes, no, Dave, like, you know, the truth is your culture is great. Everybody's family here, and this is like, you know, and what really came out, by the way, like I said, I won't say his name, is he had troubles at his house. He goes, this is my escape. Y'all are so positive here. And so when you create that culture of positive expectancy, and you need that in sales, and that's going to be our next topic, you need that in sales because sales is a fucking roller coaster, bro. It goes up, it goes down, there's left, there's right. We talked about the entrepreneurship roller coaster book, but there's all these different things. And these 18, 19, the difference between sales or leadership and all these different things like workout, right, is it's a fucking mental game. It's a mental game. In sales, you'll have a $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 day, and then you'll have 10 no sales in a row. And that person isn't challenged by their muscle. This person is not challenged by a pre-workout and how many fucking squats they can do. This person is challenged on their mental capacity to overcome obstacles. As a leader, you need to be there for that person.
Man, you had me really thinking here, especially when you said you need the culture. Now, we all have worked in the workforce before, and you've ever been stuck with somebody who you like, and you kill it that day, but they stick you with somebody you don't like, and nothing gets done because he wants to do it his way, and you want to do it yours. Or you've ever had a certain guy who didn't come to work, but the rest of y'all get along, so it was like a really good day. You were happy, you know. They didn't have that one guy who like creates all the toxicity, the trouble there. As a leader, you need to sort that out.
Well, those are called energy vampires. Anybody that's toxic in my culture, they're done. They're fired. They're gone.
You need, exactly.
It's not even
a leader needs to sort that out
across the board in whatever career that you're in. If you're a toxic person, and you're pretty sure you would know if you're that toxic person.
You're either an energy giver or energy vampire. If you're an energy vampire, you're out.
Right. If all your coworkers talk shit about you whenever you leave the room, and they come back in and they were all talking and they get quiet when you walk in, you're the energy vampire.
I think we just crushed it. So I want to talk about the most universal fucking tool on the planet.
What's that?
Sales.